here, welcome back. Today, I have a very important question for you. How you doing? How you doing? But really, I want to know how you're doing. Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, you could like and subscribe this video and channel. That was a shameless plug. I'm not sorry about it. Now, I have a thought to start us off today. I feel like whenever you go to a new place, there's always a bunch of different mugs to choose from. And you have to pick which mug you want. And I feel like the mug we choose says a lot about who we are. Are we classy? Are we fun? Are we goofy? Are we drawn to the finer things? I don't know what it says that this is the mug I chose. If you know, let me know in the comments below. And like and subscribe while you're down there. Okay, friends, enough chit chat. Time to talk about what we're here to talk about. If you are still here, because I did just talk for a long time. Guys, it's a hazard when I drink tea in the evening or afternoon or morning. I really shouldn't have caffeine, but it's delicious. Okay, today we are talking about a magical place called Skye. Not the Skye. The Skye is cool, but we are talking about Skye with an E. The Isle of Skye in Scotland. Before I left for my cycle tour of Scotland, I wasn't too sure where I was gonna go. I really made it up as I went along, but there was one place I knew I wanted to go, and that was Skye. Scotland has a lot of really cool islands all along the west coast, and Skye is the biggest of those western islands. So you can get to Skye by taking a bridge. There are also ferries from the different islands you can take over to Skye, or from the mainland as well. So you got options. There are a lot of different ways to explore Skye. I, of course, was on a bike, which was great. You could also drive. You could also walk. It's still a pretty big island, so if you are walking, you're gonna need to take some buses or have some other kind of transportation system going on. My plan was to cycle Skye because Skye is divided into kind of little loops. So if you are on a bike, it's really easy to do kind of a loop a day and see a bunch of cool stuff. But it just so happened I was on Skye for 4 days and it was raining for most of them. So I decided to take a minibus tour. Normally, I'm all about budget travel. I'm always trying to save and see everything on my bike, but I was really happy I did this minibus tour because it basically went from 9:30 in the morning until after 5 o'clock at night. And in that time, we drove around almost the whole island and got to see so much. So if you either own or rent a car, you could do the same thing just on your own. But if you're on a bike or walking, then a minibus tour is a really nice option. There is truly so much to see on Skye. I'm going to tell you my 6 favorite things so that can maybe help you pick out what you want to do. We are kicking it off with a top-notch #1, and that is the Quirang. It looks like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. It's cliffs and peaks in all these really cool formations. The day we went out to do this tour, it was rainy, but honestly, I felt like that just added to the cool effect of it. It looked so cool up there. So whether you have good weather or bad weather, it's just really neat up there. #2 is the Faerie Pools. These waterfalls with these turquoise pools at the bottom of them. It is just turquoise pool after turquoise pool. I don't even understand. What was explained to me is that the water comes off the mountains, it's really pure and clean, and then it sits in clean limestone, and that just makes it have this super bright turquoise color. Now, one thing to bear in mind with the Faerie Pools is in order to access them, you have to walk over this kind of little river. Now, how big this river is really depends on the weather. So if you're there when there's been a couple of dry days, this will be pretty easy to walk over. We were there when it had been quite rainy, so it was trickier to get over. And then sometimes if it's too rainy, the river will get too big and then you might actually not be able to get over it at all. This though, is honestly part of why I love Scotland so much. If you had this tourist attraction somewhere else, there would be fences and bridges and tickets and probably a gift shop. I feel like Scotland has such a commitment to preserving nature just as it is and just a really chill attitude. So you get to experience these places just like they've been for hundreds of years, it feels like. And the fact there's no bridge creates this really cool dynamic where everybody was just kind of helping each other get across. And it was just this really sweet team dynamic of everybody working together and helping each other out. But that is something to bear in mind if you do have any accessibility needs. Number 3 is the Faerie Glen. And this is one of my favorites. It looks like something out of a movie. I just feel like every movie should be shot here. I mean, maybe not every movie, but maybe like The Hobbit. The Hobbit should be shot here. I mean, New Zealand's cool too, but like, it's cool, man. Faerie Glen is just this collection of these weird little hills and peaks and trees and ripples along the hills. I can't even really explain it. Like, it just looks like something out of a movie. And just like with the Faerie Pools, from what my guide said, it's literally just somebody owns the land and they let people come and see this really cool spot. You know, there's no paths or admission tickets. You just get to go and walk through this place just like it's been for dozens and hundreds of years. Number 4 is the Cuillins. I did not have time to hike them, but if you have time to hike them, that would be super wicked. There are honestly so many good walking trails all over Skye, all over Scotland. I will link below to a website that is really great for trails around Scotland. If it's rainy or misty, you might not see the Cuillins, but on a clear day, they are beautiful. Number 5 is Kilt Rock. It is called Kilt Rock from what I understand because of the cool pattern that it has going on. My favorite part of Kilt Rock though is that if you listen, the wind hits the caves in this weird way that you get this eerie sound like a mermaid or dinosaurs or something. Like, it's totally magical and mystical. I mean, a product of normal geology and whatever, but it just sounds like magic. Side note, you know, now people are like, oh, it's so silly. Humans used to think the world was flat. If you see those cliffs on the side of Scotland, like if I were walking along a few thousand years ago and I saw those cliffs and a waterfall just like falling into the ocean, like 100%, I'd be like, the world is flat. I have discovered the end of it. The rest is nothingness. Like, it totally makes sense. Side note. Number 6 is Neist Point. Neist Point is where there is a lighthouse that was built there in the early 1900s. Somehow, myself and my friend lucked into the fact that our tour guide used to work there. He was one of 4 people who worked at the lighthouse. Now it's automatic, but he worked there. He worked in a lighthouse. How cool is that? When we went there, it was kind of misty and rainy. And honestly, this is why I think it's so important to not get grumpy about weather, because even if it's rainy, that can sometimes make it even cooler. Because the lighthouse looked like something out of a horror movie. And I know I keep saying that things look like movies on Skye, but they do. They really do. It's just so cool. Those are my 6 things that I loved on Skye. There are honestly so many more things. There's Old Manor Store, which is really cool rock formation. There's the Dunvegan Castle. You could do a whiskey tour. Not at the castle, at the whiskey distillery. So I'm sure they drink lots of whiskey at the castle too. Like I said, there's so many hikes you can go on. Skye is just a really magical place. One little tidbit I did get from talking to a lot of people, I went there kind of end of May, early June, and there were people around, but it wasn't too crazy. From what I've heard, in July and August, Skye has become a big tourist attraction, and so it can get really, really busy. So, I mean, if that's when you're going, that's when you're going. You'll make the best of it. You'll have tons of fun. But if you are in the stages of just planning and you can pick when you want to go, maybe May or June or September or sometime that's a little bit outside of that peak busy season. All right, friends, I need to get back to my tea, which is a little cold because I've been talking too much. So, you know, I'll brew some more tea, drink some more caffeine. What could go wrong? Thanks friends, it's been a blast. If you have any other questions about Skye or other places in Scotland, leave them below and I will answer if I can. Have a good one. Bye.